And we have some breaking news to report to you that Donald Trump has tweeted out. He is postponing his press conference to announce his vice presidential pick, which was scheduled for tomorrow at 11 a.m. here in New York City. He is postponing it because of the attack in Nice, France, where there are now over 70 dead, as many as 100 wounded in the attack that apparently was purposely done, which could be a terrorist attack, and was a big, massive truck running people over celebrating Bastille Day. Joining us now is Stacy Washington, host of Stacy on the Right show. We want your calls, 877 Newsmax. Stacy, welcome. Wow, a lot to digest here. The attack and the response from Trump.
Hey, Steve. Yeah, it's just like one tragedy after another, day after day. I know I've been feeling pretty beaten down by it all, and I thought that today was just, lots of residual anger about the Dallas attacks and President Obama's speech, which to me was quite incendiary, at least the last 2/3 of it. And then we have another attack in Paris. And I don't want to be ahead, jumping the gun, so I can't say it's terror, but a crowd of people celebrating a French holiday, and they're plowed into, and now we're dealing with the aftermath. It's really, really tragic.
And of course, this is out of the ISIS playbook. They call for these kinds of attacks, and they talk about using vehicles if you can't, use a different kind of weapon. So we'll see. Like you said, we can't jump out in front, but it appears to be purposeful, and it appears to be an act of terror. But we shall see. And you agree with Donald Trump postponing his conference tomorrow on the vice president, which, by the way, in case people just tuning in, CNN has confirmed it will be Mike Pence.
I think it doesn't hurt anything for him to postpone it, especially since CNN's already, given the secret away. I know a lot of people were speculating, Steve, who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? They were tossing out all these wild names. I don't think there was ever really a contention. I think Chris Christie was in the running, but he wasn't ahead. He didn't even have, I'd say, a large chance, and that it was always going to be a governor who was calmer than Trump, who could be more serious and had some serious policy chops on a specific issue. Governor Pence is really strong on educational choice and charter school reform, so he brings that to the table, which is a big selling point for minorities. Hispanics and blacks support that by 79% in polls. So yeah, I think a lot of us who had our ear to the ground, I'm not surprised at all that it's Governor Pence, and I like him. He's not perfect, obviously, but I think he brings a lot to the ticket.
Yeah,
so
he makes
it doesn't hurt at all.
He makes conservatives happy. Let's get to the phones at 877 Newsmax, and we have Kurt from Lakeport, California. Hey, Kurt.
Hi, guys. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Just a tragic event again. Once again, just shows how sick our world is with some very rotten people in it.
Yeah, one way or another.
Listen, I think it's not such a bad idea for Mr. Trump to postpone that. I think it shows that this is kind of a more important world event than anything that's going on with his vice presidency, because it'll be taken care of. I'm glad to hear it is Pence, though. I'm sure he's going to make a great one. I live out here in Northern California. It's the most liberal, crazy place in the United States of America. And we've already been attacked by all these politicians out here with our gun rights and on and on and on. What I wanted to mention was this is just another gleaming example of how a terrorist is going to use any type of form to kill, just as the bad guys are. They push gun rights on us out here. They want to take our guns, our ammunition, on and on. It just shows once again that if a bad person is going to do something horrible, they can use a big giant bus and blow over people.
Right. If this is a terrorist attack, this happens in Israel all the time. They use cars. They ram into crowds. It's not unusual. And I don't think Obama will be holding a press conference talking about banning trucks if this is a terrorist attack. Thank you, Kurt. I want to go to Beverly from Goodyear, Arizona. Goodyear, Arizona. Hi, Beverly.
How are you?
Good.
Hello, Steve. Hi, Stacy. How are you?
Hi, I'm great.
It's good to be on the show. I totally agree with Mr. Obama. With
Mr. Trump.
Yeah, great. I totally agree with Trump. I almost called him President Trump. Postponing his announcement for his VP. It is very important. It is also, my sympathy goes out to the people in France and what they're going through. I also think President Obama has to step up to the plate and stop this tootsie-footing around. He is acting like a wimp. Our country is under attack. We are at war. I was in the Army. We are at war. He
Well,
has to realize
Beverly,
it now.
I thank you for your service. Stacy, 30 seconds. I'm sure Obama wants to find out what we did to this guy to make him feel this way.
Yeah, as an Air Force veteran, I agree with her completely. We need some strong leadership here. And what I think is most interesting is she almost said President Trump. These kind of tragic events around the world put a highlight on terrorism, immigration, and refugee resettlement, and that's where Trump is strong.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. Stacy, stay where you are. Next segment, Ambassador Ido Haroni, Consul General of Israel. Don't miss it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live and more news to recap for you. The death toll now, 73 dead, more than 100 wounded as a truck plows into a crowd celebrating Bastille Day at about 1 in the morning local time in Nice, France. The driver of the truck, who was able to drive along mowing people down for over a mile, is dead. The police stopped him by shooting into the windshield of the vehicle. They found explosives and grenades and rifles in the truck. Again, they're saying certainly this is intentional. Nobody is saying that it's a terror attack or Islamic terror, but from all the experts, that I've been reading about in the wire stories that are quoted, it does have the MO of ISIS that tells you to do these kinds of things if this is the only kind of weapon you could have, and it turned out to be, unfortunately, an effective kind of weapon, with the streets crowded with revelers celebrating, just about the equivalent of our 4th of July. And Donald Trump, according to CNN, has selected Mike Pence, offered the job accepted. But the press conference scheduled for tomorrow at 11 a.m. here in New York, Donald Trump tweeted out that he is postponing that because of the events in France. Stacy Washington, host of Stacy on the Right Show, rejoins us, and we're looking for your calls at 877 Newsmax, 877-639-7629. And Stacy, I mean, if we find out that this guy was inspired by or whatever, ISIS or Islamic radical Islam, I just wonder if Obama, A, is going to speak tonight, B, what he might say. And don't forget, when that symbolic march after the horrific attacks in Paris not all that long ago, when world leaders came and marched arm in arm, Barack Obama was conspicuously absent.
It's kind of disgusting because we're all still here in this country reeling from his abysmal performance at the memorial service for the 5 officers who were slain, police, law enforcement officers, slain at the hands of what I would say was a terror attack. But in any case, they were murdered needlessly because they're white and because they're in law enforcement. And he took the time to pander to the very basest parts of the leftist agenda, which call for disarming law-abiding Americans. And so he's probably really doing a lot of congratulatory whipping and nay-naying in the White House, while the rest of us are dealing now with this attack. And I can't help it. I know we don't know exactly why, but when you tell me that there were bombs and rifles in the back of the truck and that the person intentionally not just mowed them down, but drugged people and mowed down people for over a mile, that's terror. That's terror ISIS style. So how about Angela Merkel and the others who are remaining in the EU and happy to share their borders? How about if they finally just admit this was a horrible idea and start shipping these people back to their home countries, because the Arab nations should take them in. They share the same ideological bent and understanding of what a civilization is. They're not westernized. They shouldn't be here, and they should be there.
And of course, like I said, we don't know who this guy was. They must know who he is. Apparently, he rented this truck, so they must know his name. They must know everything about him. And eventually, probably very soon, we'll find out as well. Let's get to the phone, Stacy. 877 Newsmax. First up, Teresa from Tioga, Pennsylvania. Hello, Teresa.
Hello there. I love your show.
Thank you.
Yes, we watch it every chance we get.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Donald Trump for VP is an excellent choice.
Mike Pence, governor of Indiana.
Yes,
yeah.
Mike Pence of Indiana. Yes, I think that was a very good choice. And I wish he would announce the rest of his cabinet that he has in mind. So I feel very good that he will make a good president and a good vice president. So,
All right, Teresa. Yeah, go ahead. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Are you happy? You think he did the right thing postponing his announcement tomorrow?
yes, he's a man who has compassion where there's horror. So, I mean, we sympathize with the French people having some of that terrorism done here in our country. So, and he did the right thing. Yes.
Okay.
He did.
Teresa, thank you very, very much, and thanks for watching the show. Appreciate it. Brian is next from Boise, Idaho. Brian, you're on with Steve and Stacy Washington. Hello, sir.
Steve and Teresa, correct?
Stacy.
Oh, Stacy, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to make a point. You know, the Obama's been harping on the guns every time something like this happens, and now it's a truck driver. What's he going to do next? Is he going to ask for anybody on the no-fly list to be banned from getting the CDL and driving a truck? You know, it's just like you guys have said before, they're going to use any weapon that they can get their hands on. It doesn't matter. We've got to stop them, not the guns or the means of their, you know, what they're doing.
Yeah, and you know, Brian, you make a good point. And Stacy, again, just saying we don't know who this was, why they did it, you know, what group inspired him, who he was a member of, maybe nobody, we don't know. But if Obama does speak on this, and it does become apparent that it was a Muslim terror attack, a radical Islamist, Obama, if he says anything, will say, you know, he's a knucklehead. He doesn't represent Islam, and you know we have to reach out to the Muslim community. That's what he'll say.
Yes, but remember, whenever someone kills with a gun and it's a simple mass shooting, not religious-based here in this country, he always says, well, the NRA and the Republicans, and he starts vilifying 50% of the American population, 65% gun ownership in our country. So what's he going to do this time? I'd love to hear him say, well, just like we can't vilify all Black Lives Matter people, and we can't vilify all members of the Muslim community, we can't vilify anyone. What we need to talk about is who this person was and what drove them to do this attack.
Yep, absolutely. Brian, I thank you, sir. Thank you for calling. Next, George from Long Island here in New York. Hello, George.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
Listen, Steve, as a former Democrat and now independent voter, because when the way left took over with abortion stuff, I backed out. That's it. But I have to admit, I'm disappointed in Barack Obama. You know, I voted him twice because of the war, this and that, and he was going to get Bin Laden and this and that, blah, 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 blah. Wonderful. But the last 2 years, not to accept this extreme radical Islam is going to kill our country. And I'm telling you, even the Israelis was talking the other day that this deal with the Iran is even worse than the other terrorists there, the other group. And I think the main thing is we got to keep this country safe.
Yeah, well, you probably saw you probably saw the head of Jihad Watch, who was on my show, Robert Spencer, who wrote a book, and how Iran is our main threat because they're the biggest sponsor of terrorism, and that he says there are cells and representatives of Hamas, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, all already in this country, and they're financed by Iran. So we're in big trouble, George. Hey, thank you very much. Let's go to Mike from Poland Valley, Arizona. Hello, Mike. You're next, sir.
How you doing, Steve?
Good, thank you.
Hey, listen, I was listening to that conversation you were having with that Jewish representative there.
Well, that was Ido Aharoni. He is still the consul general from Israel to New York. His term ends at the end of this month. Yes.
Yeah, I keep thinking about the responsibility of this Judeo-Christian nation, that our relationship within the last 8 years with them has been horrible, and that we are, I firmly believe as a Christian, we are responsible to help Israel whenever they call on us, because I don't even want to think about what will happen to this country, being a spiritual person, what will happen to us if we do not help Israel.
Well, Stacy, you know, a lot of Christians feel that way, and I respect that certainly. And as a Jew, I support Israel also, and as an American, I support Israel. But you know, we're running out of time. But the fact of the matter is that under Obama, the relationship has been horrific. And on his way out the door, he's going to let the UN declare a Palestinian state. I'm sure of it, Stacy.
All I can say is Trump 2016. We got to work really hard to get people who are on the fence and thinking about letting Hillary win. We got to make them understand how important this is. Israel, that's on the table, and we can't let him destroy the bonds between our nation and that great nation.
Stacy on the right, I always appreciate you coming on, and thank you very much for spending so much time with us. All the callers, thank you. I am off tomorrow. I'll see you on Monday, and it'll be Republican convention time. Again, we'll keep an update. 73 dead, 100 wounded, and I fear that number will grow. Up next, J.D. Hayworth and Newsmax Prime.